Hello everyone, welcome to the NPTEL online certification course titled Medical Law. Myself, Dr. Chaitanya Mittal, as Medical Legal Consultant at Dr. B.C. Roy Multi-Speciality Medical Research Center, IIT Kharagpur. As we have gone through the week 2, the various lectures, today is the fourth lecture of second module on the importance of documentation in medical practice. So, the concepts covered will be in this lecture are the medical records, features of medical records, what will be the contents of medical records, the Indian scenario in the medical records, how to keep it in Indian perspective, the judicial perspective, and last will be the latest electronic health record or as in telemedicine or the digitally how to maintain the records. The keywords involved in our lecture are medical records, healthcare, negligence, electronic health record. Coming to the introduction, the record means what? The record is inscribed information that can be retrieved at any point of time. It includes all original documents, can be the letters, photographs, writings, audio, video, visuals or recordings and electronic data. Documentation is considered a fundamental component of the legal system. If it is a proper documentation, it will be considered, otherwise improper documentation means it is not documented. लिखा हुआ है तो documented है, नहीं लिखा तो वो आपने किया नहीं. Medical record is a clinical, scientific, administrative and legal document relating to patient care. So, documentation is very important. So, legally what he say? If it is written, it has been done by the doctor. If it is not written, it is not done by the doctor or the treating doctor. Excellence in medical documentation reflects and creates excellence in medical care. Medical record contains all the data written in the sequence of events to identify and locate the patient and justify the diagnosis, treatment given and the final outcome. Failure to document relevant data relating to the patient itself is deemed as a breach and deviation from standard care. Even fail to document the date and time of examination of the patient done by the doctor is also a breach. So, it is very much important to mention the date and time of examination of the patient at the top of the OPD slip. Documentation in the clinical field has several purposes apart from legal risks. Medical record includes a variety of notes entered over time by healthcare professionals, recording observations, tests conducted on the patient and their results, X-ray reports, administration of drugs and therapies, etc. Medical record is essential for the care of the patient to be met. Documentation is legal protection for both the patient as well as the medical professional in the event of a disagreement over medical care. So, the MRD, the medical record department of any hospital, is its repository of information for patient care. So, each and every hospital or the institute must have one separate department to record, to preserve, to maintain the medical records, that is the medical record department, MRD. The organization of medical records. The medical record is a scientific, clinical, administrative and legal document regarding the sensitive information of patient care services. It provides the complete details of the healthcare service provided to the patient, including data related to health history. The hospital is the sole owner of the medical record of the patient. The medical record is confidential data and can only be shared with the patient or their relatives or in court, especially after seeking the permission from the patient if the data is being asked by the relatives. It's must to inform or take a prior permission from the patient. But in case of court or in an emergency, it can be shared under privileged communication. So, the use of medical records to document the course of patient's illness and treatment, to communicate between healthcare professionals and attending doctors for providing proper care to the patient, to collect health statistics, legal matters and court cases, and insurance matters for any claim or medical compensation in case. So, here comes the importance of medical records. It is very much important. It can be used for multiple purposes. So, what are the components of medical records? It starts from the demographic profile. Then there comes as a consent for a procedure or a whole treatment. It is considered to be as a legal document. Admission notes and clinical progress being mentioned in the records. Operation, if any operation or surgery done, so the operation notes are there. Discharge summary on discharging the patient, so they have a complete discharge summary mentioned in the medical record. The orders for the treatment and various medication given to the patient. So, these are the components or what all can be there in case of medical records. Identify summary sheet includes the demographic profile of the patient, that can includes name, address, age, sex, admission date, previous diagnosis if any, etc. Then the consent for treatment means a person's voluntarily agreeing to receive medical care, treatment or the services. Legal documents like referral letters, requests for information or any referral from other institute, etc. Admission notes, clinical progress notes, nurse progress notes, vital signs to be mentioned, blood pressure, temperature, Glasgow Coma Scale, any GCS, consciousness, orientation to time, place and person. Then if any surgery or OT done, so operation notes or any investigation like X-rays, pathology, blood investigation, microbiological investigation, orders for treatment, medications, form listing daily medication ordered and given with the signature of the doctor prescribing the treatment and the nurse administering it, and the discharge summary along with the referral slip if needed. So, the significance of medical records can be there for the doctor as well as for the patient. For the doctor, deciding proper treatment, in case if referral is needed, so the notes or the records will be very much helpful for the second treating doctor. Medical review of the treatment, assist in legal proceedings. So, there is a lot of benefits, importance of medical records for the doctor as well as for the patient in case of issuance of medical certificate, insurance claim for medical insurance and legal evidences. For the hospital, there is a lot of benefits, assuring the quality and the quantity of treatment, such number of patients being treated here. Second, medical audit. Third, administrative and management. Fourth, medical legal protection. Disease surveillance. Medical legal importance in case of any medical legal cases. Claiming tax benefits. Evidence in the court of law. Certificate of birth and the deaths. So, for the hospital, medical records has lot of benefits. It helps even for the treating doctor, patient as well as to the institute where the medical records to be necessary to be maintained and preserved properly. For even the medical records, properly documented medical records help in case of research as well as development, as well like education and training, to the students, medical students, nursing students, clinical and epidemiological research, health system research. So, there is a lot of benefits, importance, significance of medical records. So, the features of quality documentation. There should be properly documentation should be there, then only the records or the medical records to be considered as a complete. A clinical document must be clear and free from any kind of ambiguity which might cause misinterpretation. If there is any wrong, so completely it is clearly being instructed by the court, strike with a single line, put your initial and rewrite it. Do not keep on striking it completely, no, it can be readable what is wrong you have written. So, please put a single strike, put your initial and rewrite it separately. It must be legible, it must be readable, the handwriting should be easy to understand, it must be precise to the point, it must be consistent, it must be timely recorded, it shall be in chronological order. It must clearly state the name, date of birth and unique identifier of the patient clearly. Should mention the identification marks, minimum 2 is required with a proper landmarks over the body which are clearly visible to identify the patient. It must contain details of the medical practitioner, the name of the hospital and the contact information. So, the quality documentation is must. General instruction for good recording practice. Good recording practices are those measures that make the medical record legible, reliable, timely, without error and reproducible. Legibility in general refers to the handwriting, should be clearly to understand what is being written by the treating doctor. Readability refers to the use of abbreviation. The doctor can use the standard abbreviation, but better not to use simply the small abbreviations to be written completely and arrangement forms in the medical record. Timelines of entries is critical to the accuracy of medical record. In addition, authenticate date and time of entries. Correction of errors is extremely important from a patient care standpoint and legal aspects. Alteration of medical records, the error must be circles, write the correct entry below it and then sign the new entry. So, if any error or mistake to be done, strike with a single line, so that what error being done it also can be readable, and initials are must. Commonly find deficiencies, diagnosis without complete description, improper terminology. Detailed diagnosis is written inside but not on the face sheet. Different final diagnoses were recorded on the face sheet and the discharge summary. No provisional diagnosis on the history and physical examination record. So, these are the commonly found deficiencies. Even the date and time properly not mentioned, even the proper consent is not taken with a sign of the patient or the witness's sign or doctor's sign, just initial is being mentioned, properly name with seal, registration number should be there. So, but these are the commonly deficiencies. Commonly procedure or operation not recorded on the face sheet. The result column is often not completed. The date and time of examination is not written. So, these are the commonly found deficiencies in documentation. Consequences of incomplete medical record. If the proper documentation is not there or they are the incomplete medical records, so the doctor has to face lot of consequences or litigation in the court, lead to the serious problems like wrong diagnosis. So, if there is a wrong diagnosis, there will be wrong operation, wrong treatment and can be a medical negligence. Wrong treatment and wrong medications can be given if properly documentation is not there. Can even endanger the patient life, lead to create multiple files for a single patient also. So, difficult to maintain the data also for a single patient. Mixing up multiple files and creating confusion among various other healthcare professionals in case of referral. Healthcare professionals will find it difficulty to render quick treatment during emergencies due to a lack of vital and important information regarding the treatment or previously done any surgeries to the patient. So, it is very much important to be documented properly and make it complete medical record of patient coming to for the treatment to a medical professional. So, what is the importance in India or Indian perspective of medical records? How are being maintained? What are the timelines? The issues of medical records keeping has been addressed in the Medical Council of India Regulation 2002 guidelines, answering many questions regarding the medical records. The important issues that have been addressed is the timelines. So, how to maintain the records? So, it is a minimum the patient coming for an OPD, that is a clearly mentioned minimum we have to maintain the records for 3 years from the commencement of treatment under section 1.3.1 and appendix 3. The request for medical records by patient or authorized attendant should be acknowledged and document issued within 72 hours being mentioned in the section 1.3.2 with the prior permission of the patient in case of any attendant or relative. Maintaining a register of certificates with the full details of medical certificates issued with at least one identification mark, at least one, but better it is always two identification mark of the patient and his signature mentioned in the section 1.3.3. Effort should be made to computerize medical records for quick retrieval mentioned in the section 1.3.4. Directorate General of Health Services for Central Government Hospital in 2014 issued the guidelines for the retention or the maintenance of medical records. It provides the medical records of indoor patient shall be kept in digital form for minimum 10 years. In case of OPD patient for 3 years. In case of medical legal cases or medical legal records shall be kept minimum at least for 10 years or till the case get disposed of. Better to be maintained as long as till the case get disposed of in case of medical legal cases. But in case of OPD and IPD of general cases or non-medical legal cases, you can maintain for 3 years in case of OPD and 10 years in case of IPD who are admitted in that particular hospital to be maintained by the institute or the hospital. Coming to the section 69 of the Consumer Protection Act 2019 dictates the time within which the complaint has to be filed. Thus, it is advisable to maintain the record for 2 years for outpatient records and 3 years for inpatient and surgical cases. The Medical Council of India guideline also insists on preserving the inpatient records in a standard pro forma for 3 years from the commencement of treatment. Section 29 of the PCPNDT Act 1994 now to be amended requires that all the documents shall be maintained for minimum of 2 years or until the disposal of the proceedings. PCPNDT rules of 1996 also mandate that record on a computer to be maintained by the person responsible for such record. Medical records are acceptable as per the section 3 of the Indian Evidence Act 1872. Medical records are usually summoned in a court of law in the following cases: criminal cases for providing the nature, timing and gravity of the injuries. It is considered important evidence to corroborate the nature of the weapon used and the cause of death. Road traffic accident cases under the Motor Vehicle Act 2019 for deciding on the amount of compensation, how much the compensation for a particular loss happened to the patient while driving. So, the medical records are very much important in court of law. Labor codes in relation to the Workmen's Compensation Act. Various insurance claims to prove the duration of illness and in case of cause of death. Medical negligence cases, these can be in criminal courts when the charge against the doctor is for criminal negligence or under the Consumer Protection Act for deficiency in the doctor's or hospital care. So, there is a lot of importance of medical records. In the case of Pune Medical Foundation, Ruby Hall Clinic versus Maruti Rao L. Titkare and another in the year 1995, SEC Online, NCDRC, the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission, had held that there was no question of negligence for failure to supply the medical records to the patients unless there is a legal duty on the hospital to give the records. However, the Bombay High Court in Raghunath Raheja versus the Maharashtra Council and others 1996 SEC Online Bombay 5 held that doctors claim confidentiality when patients or their relatives demand medical records. In Mr. X versus Hospital Z 1998 Supreme Court 296, the apex court slammed the hospital for medical negligence for not maintaining the confidentiality of patient information. So, coming to the last concept, the electronic health records. Electronic health records are real-time digital versions of patient records. It is a comprehensive report of an individual's health, including their medical history, medical examination, diagnosis, laboratory results, allergies, details of immunization, treatment, etc. Electronic health records are the next version of electronic medical records, since EMRs are only a digital version of medical records and accessible only to those inside the management. Electronic health records are comprehensive records meant to be shared outside the healthcare organization. Electronic health record system includes the patient ID and registration details, lab, pathology, radiological and other investigations, scanned documents, previous medical records can be there, clinical data, treatment, orders, prescriptions, medical prescriptions, disease classification and indexing, all can be mentioned in electronic health records. So, the benefits of electronic health records ensures the patient's records are easily accessible, cost effective, improves the quality of patient's records, improve accuracy and speed of diagnosis, thus helps to avoid repeating tests, easy to update, help to improve healthcare decisions, evidence based, effective for research purpose. Initiatives by Indian government. Electronic health record standards. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare came out with various standards in 2013 and 2016 respectively. In 2015, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare proposed to set up the National E-Health Authority of India with the object of laying down data management, privacy and security policy in compliance with the statutory provisions. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare also put forward the draft for the establishment of the Digital Health Information in Healthcare Security Act 2018. So, coming to the conclusion. So, before going to the conclusion of this lecture, the electronic health records has a benefit. Definitely there is a benefit of easily accessible and all, but it is necessary to maintain it because the data can be encrypted, the privacy can be lost if a lot of people can accessible. So, especially in case of medical legal cases, there should be a properly handwritten document by the treating doctor. But definitely the e-records are also good. So, in the two way we can maintain the records to make it good accessible or having both the benefits of e-health record as well as in a handwritten form. So, together they can be very helpful, but it is difficult to replace it as the data can be encrypted or privacy can be lost. So, coming to the conclusions of this lecture, the importance of documentation. The medical records are vital for the healthcare sector to deliver proper treatment to a patient. Well maintained or properly documented medical records are proven to be life saving for the patient. In case of medical legal jurisprudence demands that healthcare experts maintain proper documentation of patients' health records. Digitalization of health records seems to be the way forward in the healthcare system and can be adapted. These are the references for the further reading. The medical records and issuance in negligence, one of the journal PubMed article. Another article, fundamentals of medical record documentation, and another one of the Springer publisher book you can go through in the year 2022. So, these are the references for further readings. Thank you.